24, 25. You know, you're 32. I'm like, you're saying I'm too old? He goes, I'm saying you're too old. I was like, damn, you're my friend. And he's like, it's not me, man, it's time. And I was like, yeah, all right. So that one just went to the, so cut to 15 years later, I get this script. I get this script of Chet Baker in his 40s. And it was so interesting because I felt like, you know how the movie starts with the movie within the movie that was supposed to be about the 50s? Well, you know, in my mind's eye, that was the original movie. You know, like I was, because Rick wanted to shoot it in black and white. It was going to be like Robert Frank's Pull My Daisy, for those of you that know that film. And it felt like I was doing a sequel. You know? A sequel with things that hadn't been made. And so I wanted to revisit, I felt personally his failings. Because you know, when you also, anybody who has early success understands a certain dilemma that poses immediately. I mean, you're sitting there so happy Dead Poets Society is a big hit, and you don't know that it like doesn't get any better than this. Man, it leaves you on a strange ground to walk with how to judge your own development for the rest of your life. You know, because all the superficial things don't really make sense, because I have to be better than I was then. But I remember Norman Lloyd. All you have to do is ask one question. I'll just talk. Norman Lloyd was one of Orson Welles' members of the Mercury Theater Company, an amazing actor. And he'd been in, you know, a trillion amazing things. And he also had a part in Dead Poets Society when I was 17, 18, just starting out. And I was doing this thing where we were doing a shot, we were walking down the halls, and I was just goofing around, and I would kick the guy in front of me's foot, so he'd trip and he'd spill all his books, and it was making the other guys laugh. And we were friends. I wasn't being mean. He wasn't crippled or anything. I wasn't being, you know. You guys all got so serious about it. I didn't know it. 17. He was my friend. I kicked his foot. And Norman Lloyd came over to me, and he said, "Hey, let me talk to you." He said, "Are you having a good time?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." Isn't Peter Weir amazing? I said, "Yeah, Peter Weir's amazing." Is Rob Williams amazing? Rob Williams amazing. Yeah, he's amazing. And he goes, "Yeah, this will probably never happen to you again." Because I'm, you know, I think at the time he was like 82. He said, "You know, I'm 82, and chances to work with Orson Welles don't come along very often." And I really think about everything that I learned from Orson and from Joe Cotton and the people that I was working with then, and I mine my memory for everything that was valuable about that experience. And I just don't want you to spend the whole time kicking that boy's feet. And you know, it was right. You know, it was an incredible experience, and I hope someday to get to tell him that. I'll think about that.
He's still.
I don't know. I have to get his number.
I think he's about. I have his address actually.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. My husband and I were invited by Norman Lloyd to his home in the year 2000, and he showed us on his wall the memorabilia from Hitchcock, from Jean Renoir, from Orson Welles.
Is he 100 now?
I believe so.
Yeah. He's a serious guy. He just got in tennis the other day. I heard.
Well, then maybe this helps us come back to Chet Baker, to these geniuses and legends. Because really, what I want to know, because you're very persuasive playing that trumpet, is did you learn to play trumpet either now or when Richard Linklater first came up with the idea? You know, how much of the actual training musically did you have to do?
Is Seymour Bernstein here tonight? Seymour here?
Yeah.
Seymour is my friend who I made a documentary about a couple years or so ago. It was the most wonderful thing to edit this documentary and talk and think about music with Seymour. It was very much a musician's relationship to their art was very much on my mind when the script showed up at my door. And I saw the whole experience through the eyes of what I've been learning from Seymour. And so I begged the director if we could put off the filming for a year, because I thought if I had a year to have trumpet lessons, I could really do something special. And you know, the trouble with making movies is that the money's coming, and you know, getting the money to get a movie financed is very hard. And if it was on a different fiscal year, it would have to be re-put together. And I said, I really can't do that. And then I went to have a trumpet lesson. The trumpet teacher said, listen, man, you could have about 8 to 10 years, and you would be nowhere near the way Chet Baker plays. And that gave me kind of permission. I watched Denzel Washington and Mo Better Blues. I watched some other things, and I realized that it's doable, and that what I most wanted to convey was the relationship to the music. People who are expert trumpet players won't be fooled. I learned about 5 or 6 songs. I tried to play them. Carmen Ejogo, my co-star, says the worst thing about this movie was that we had dressing rooms right next to each other, and our hotel rooms were right next to each other. So she listened to me practice in between breaks, and listened to me practice in between home. And then you think you like the song Summertime, but listen to me play it for a couple minutes. But so the idea was, what the director would do is he would crank up the music. Because the problem is it's hard to respond, not to respond if you play a wrong note. But he would crank up the music, and I would just play along to it so that the embouchure would be right. But it's not me playing. And some of my playing was better than others, and but I consoled myself with the idea that I was mostly trying to convey a relationship to music, and that the great music already exists. I don't have to invent that.
That comes through, but I was aware, especially watching the film the second time, it would have been one thing to just learn how to play the trumpet to incarnate something who played it beautifully. But this is a man who first was playing the trumpet with one tooth missing, and then was playing the trumpet with those dentures. And I'm wondering, how did you modulate that? Like, because I felt the sort of difference in your mouth, but I wasn't sure how much that was.
That part is so interesting to me about how our insecurities can be strengths. And I knew this from the film I was doing. In Linkletter's film, there was some scenes where Chet was rehearsing, and I had really wanted to put this in, which was that Chet always wanted to sing, and real jazz guys, you know, Jerry Mulligan and Art Pepper, and, Dizzy, and certainly Miles, but anybody, Charlie Parker, would be like, why are you singing? Like, you know, I mean, you're not a singer. And he really liked to sing, he enjoyed it, but he was really worried about his embouchure, even missing the one tooth. His mouth would get extremely tired, particularly if he was playing at a high level and probably doing really good work. His mouth would get really, really tired. And the singing would give him a break, even as a young man. And so I find it really interesting. And of course, the reviews for his singing were absolutely dismal, terrible. And he was wildly made fun of it. And they still sell, proving once again that so often what's happening in the moment, we don't get. You know, there's something very real about his relationship to singing. And he sings, I had to take these singing lessons, right? Because I had to sing these songs. And one of the things you realize, I thought I agreed to do it because I didn't think that Chet was that good of a singer, that I believed, I liked his songs. It's not that, but it's not Billie Holiday, it's not Ella Fitzgerald. I thought I could convey what is beautiful about his singing. One great critic said, it's not a person singing, it's the memory of someone singing. And you have this feeling when you listen to him sing, like he might stop any second. Like, he plays it exactly, he sings it exactly the way he plays it. You can hear him sing, it's just a no, you hear it, and there's nothing on it besides like pressing the valves. And I found it really beautiful until you try to do it. And then you realize, like Matisse or something, it's really hard to be that simple. It's really hard. And the guy can hold his breath for eternity, seemingly. He never breathes when he sings. It's so beautiful, and it's so empty that it becomes full. I mean, you can put anything you want into his emptiness. And mysteriously, people would get these terrible reviews about singing, and people say, "Why do you keep doing that?" And he'd be, "Because I love it." And it was a combination of loving it and knowing his embouchure was weak. I just think that's why it's so special. He withstood something for it.
And did you actually watch a lot of, besides Let's Get Lost, concert footage of him, the way that he performed? Because there were quite a few.
Oh, yeah. And it's so, we live in a wonderful time for that. You know, you can go to the rabbit hole. I mean,